man. Chase Geese.
You will like this episode.
That's your new catchphrase. I see. Well, as long as George doesn't find out. All right. Okay. So this episode is called Lair of Grievous. Okay, Lair of Grievous. I'll be honest. Again, I'm here for the character development, and I love the Republic. This doesn't have a lot of it, so for me, it's kind of like it's okay. It's an okay one. It has, from my perspective, 1 point to make. It has 2, really, I suppose. I'll let him handle the second one maybe if he wants to handle the second one. Oh boy! But the first one I'm interested in. So if you when you watch the series, and like I'm a guy who's read all the old non-canon. I saw Star Wars when it first came out, as you can tell, at '77. So I've read all the stuff. I know all the old Tales of the Jedi. That whole comic series was 37 books. You know, I've read all the stuff, all the non-canon stuff now, all of it, just about. And so I love the Old Republic. I really loved it. I was a big fan of the Republic. I get a kick out of it. It was a really wonderful place. I really thought it was amazing. So for me, if any stories about it in this series are really good, stories that take away from it, or not take away from it, but aren't actually kind of really about it, I'm slightly less involved. Slightly less involved. All right. So, and in this story, you have Lair of Grievous. What you have is that one aspect of the council, which is when you read all that stuff. One of the things you find out is that, and in the Clone Wars too, that the Jedi Council really thought that, and let's say this is deliberate the way this is set up, that the war wasn't going to affect them, that they are so detached as they are, that in point of fact they were going to go into the war the same way it came out of the war, and that's a lie. And I said I made this point to a couple people I know, one online, one here, which is that if you think about it, and I think this is the reason why I like the Clone Wars so much, is that from the original movies to a lot of the books to everything after the other movies, again, the maker and breaker kind of the entire kind of Star Wars world is the Clone Wars. It unmakes the Republic. It changes the Republic, destroys the Republic. It creates the Empire. The Empire then is destroyed and is remade again by a weakened Republic. But this Clone Wars is kind of the defining thing that makes all the stuff collide and changes everything. Everything before it is changed forever in ways that it can never really reform again. And that's kind of interesting to me. It's also kind of sad. But the Jedi go into the war really believing that they were going to go in and come out the same way. In this story, it shows they aren't. You have 2 key people. You have Fisto, decent Jedi. I never liked his name. I always thought it was obscene. But that's me. I have a dirty mind. So it is. And you see his apprentice who comes at night. What's his name?
Nadir.
Yeah, Nadir. Nice enough guy. That's one of the fish people, I believe. So Nadir, over time in the story, you see he has become more aggressive, and his master notices that. Not just more aggressive, but he then at one point even wants to say we should adopt some of their methods or whatever, because to fight them. And in the end, it's what gets him killed because he wants to fight Grievous. He wants to avenge the deaths, which again are not Jedi thinking. And later, and when the show's done, the end of the episode, they say, yeah, that I think it was Yoda who said that. It's like that's not Jedi way about seeking revenge. The point is that they thought it wouldn't affect them, but over time in the series they try to show, just like they try to show with a lot of things, in a gradual, slow way, that in point of fact, the war is affecting the Jedi. The Jedi slowly are changing, because how can you not be changed by the fact that you are in the middle of a galactic war where you are generals leading troops to die all the time for 3 years?
It takes its toll.
It takes its toll on everybody. Just because you have the Force or anything else, any other magical ability, doesn't change the fact that it's changing you, because it's too big. It's much bigger than ways than it's bigger than the Republic. It's bigger than the Force in some ways, right? Because it's the war that's encapsulating, and it's driving everything, all the events in every direction. So how can you not be changed? Of course you would be. So It shows that well, and I like that, and I thought that was well done. I did. The rest, I really don't care about. I'm not interested, quite frankly. I really am not. I'm disengaged. All right, so I'll give it to you. You can do the rest of the show.
So I like this episode because this was one of the first episodes that showed that it wasn't actually a kid's show anymore. Even though it aired on the Cartoon Network, it played this episode off as more of a slasher horror almost. You know, they trap Grievous, and Dooku betrays Grievous by saying like, "Oh, you gotta go out there, go into the field, get more dramatic." So he goes out there, and of course they have an ambush waiting for him, and Grievous's feet get cut off. Like, that is not something you would see in any of the movies, besides maybe like the third episode, because Anakin gets all sliced and diced. But anyway, one of the clones gets like incinerated at some point, and like all these terrible, gruesome casualties occur in this episode. So it's just great that they show that moving on up, and how it's progressing from something like George Lucas, Jar Jar Binks kiddie fairy tale stuff to actually serious. People are dying in terrible ways, and war is hell. This is the stuff that we have to deal with, and of course that's why Admiral Akbar Wannabe acts that way, because he has so filled with this rage that he is so upset with the system, and all of his friends are dying around him, that he has to strike back in any way possible. So I thought that was a great emotional scale.
Oh, you're done.
Yeah.
Oh,
not much to say otherwise.
Yeah, as I said, the Grievous thing is always hilarious to me. Every time he gets cornered, he does this kind of skittering bug thing.
I'm gonna go away now.
He's a skitterer. I call it the skittering. I don't know what else you call it. He becomes a bug, and he just crawls anywhere. So there we go. Oh, I'll tell you a couple things about Grievous if you're interested. A couple things I found out about. So if you look at Grievous in the story, one of the reasons he fights, I don't know if I covered this before, he fights the Jedi so well is because he does a couple things. One is he grips the Earth, or he grips the ship. So every time they can't do force pushes on him much, because he uses his feet to grip everything, just so you understand that. So that's one tactic they have they can't really use on him, which is interesting. The second thing, of course, is that he becomes a skittering bug. So he can just get down on all 10 feet or whatever he has, and just go climb up everywhere and just go. He's actually more mobile, I found, when he loses his leg or goes on skittering mode than when he walks upright, which is, why would you walk upright then? But whatever. But there you go. As I said, it's interesting. The only thing, another part is that, again, the Sith show that they have this kind of, there's this system, which is that you have to prove yourself every second of the day. It's almost Klingon-like. You have to, and well, not quite. Klingons at least have a little more honor, but I mean, that
they put themselves to the test, even though they don't allow them to know it's a test.
Yeah, that's why
if you survive. Congratulations.
That's why Count Dooku set up his own, his own guy.
Yeah.
Because he said, well, are you really that good? Are you really that good?
Well, not only that, but Grievous had failed him 3 times in a row, so he's just like, all right, kid, here you go.
That's why he tested him, and at the end, Dooku's still not happy, because if at the end he says, well, you got the knight, yeah, but you didn't get the master
one.
The master. That would have been an actual something. So he says there's room for improvement then. But the point is that that's the system they use, which is a brutal system of attrition.
Yep. Which
in the end, it's almost like a gangster system. Nobody can win, because there's always another gangster coming up who's going to shoot you. So even though you may be top dog today, there's always another guy coming up.
Who's going to usurp you.
Eventually it will happen. So you'll always live on borrowed time, whoever you are. So it's a very high attritional system, which
it's almost based on betrayal.
Well, it is literally based on betrayal. It is. But that's why it can't win. I mean, that's why in the original books and everything, they said the Sith always lose. There's only 2 of them. In the end, you only can have 2. You can't trust more than 2, so there's only 2.
Well,
so
you can only trust more than 1.
One. That's it. Yeah, and that's it. Whereas, of course, because they have faith in the other side, real trust, they don't have that system of betrayal. They don't have that system of power climbing, that they have to try to climb for more power.
Yeah.
Then they can have many Jedi. So there's always going to have many Jedi and few Sith. So in the end, the Sith will generally always lose. They're always going to lose, because how can few be many?
Make themselves be extinct.
That's how it is. Anyway, that's been it. Next week, we're gonna do.
Year.
Yeah, we're gonna do Dooku Captured. Actually, no, wait. I think that. Oh, you know what? we're going to do an arc. Dooku captured and the Gungan general. It's a two-part arc. I actually liked it. It's the first time you meet that Pirate King guy who I like. He actually makes it to the next series.
Yes.
Anyways, look, that's I'm solemn.
Oh wait, we didn't even do the rating.
Oh crap! We do the
3 out of
rating.
5. 3 fish.
I apologize.
Jedi people out of 5.
Yeah, I gave it a 3 out of 5. Again, it was good.
Quality stuff.
It was good. It wasn't great, but it was good. And then
Did what it had to do.
That's true. So I'm solemn. He's Kyle. He was trying to say that South Park way, but you know that's what he's trying to do. That's what he's trying to go for. When you failed. Anyway, so that's us, and we're gonna see that the Dooku capture the Gungan General arc next week. All right. Well, so then
You did like this episode.
it's men who chase geese.
Goodbye.
Take care.